Child, when I tell you that I am beefing with grief right now, I am beefing with the good sis grief because here I am thinking that I made it on the other side. Here I am thinking that I am in a good place. Here I am enjoying sunshine and rainbows and everything. And randomly walking down the street listening to the clips, I bust out in tears. Yeah, on a beautiful 70-degree day, I am crying walking down Pennypacker Drive. And I was so angry when I started feeling the tears, but then it reminded me like and this is what I always tell myself when grief gets overwhelming for me. It's just proof that I've loved unconditionally. But it also reminded me that I belong to one of the shittiest clubs that you could possibly belong to. Like and I say this not to downplay anybody else's loss or anybody else's experience, but I am a twin that was left behind. Yeah. I lost my sister November 3rd, 2022. So I am the twin that was left behind. And like I don't know if you guys seen Sinners, but you know how he said, when he said, you know, was that the best day you ever had? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then he was like, yeah, because the last time I seen the sun was the last time I seen my brother. My God, today, that part of that song, that part of that movie always brings me to tears, and because that was the first time I seen what it was like on and just in I don't want to say reality because it was a movie, but in front of me, that what it really looked like being the twin that was left behind, and it's a different kind of grief that you experience. So yeah, it is the shittiest club that you can belong to, and I was asking myself like when I was wiping the tears off my eyes, I was like, yo, why is the clips making you cry like this? Yo, I'm a G. Like I'm a whole entire thug. Okay, I'm not. I'm not a thug. I'm not even thug adjacent. I don't even know why I said that. But it was the song. It was the first song on their latest album when they said, "What is it? Birds don't sing." And it was the way that he was just telling the story of losing their parents, and it was like a couple of words that made me think about my own loss. When he was saying that, he's like, you were telling me you were tired but not ready to go yet, and you were basically saying that you were dying, and I didn't hear that yet. And I just remember when my sister was sick, she was giving me all the signs that she was tired. She was giving me all the signs that she knew her time was coming to an end, but I didn't hear. I refused to hear that. Um, and it took a long time for me to really filter through all of our experiences towards the end and realize that wow, like she always knew. But I wasn't ready to hear that, and I couldn't hear that. I didn't even want to accept it when I had to tell the doctors to stop bringing her back. you know. But that loss, it was unexpected, yet it was expected. Um, like I knew my sister was sick, but she was a comeback queen. Like the good sis always bounced back. But if I paid attention more instead of looking at her with my hopeful eyes, I would have seen that she was tired. I would have seen that the illness was dog walking her and that she had fought enough. So there was never I was never angry that she passed. Um, but I was devastated. I was devastated. I was devastated enough that I stopped. Yeah. And when I tell you I stopped living. Yeah. And not to the point where like, I was thinking of ending my life. No, I just stopped. Because when I lost my dad, I remember that I ran from grief and she continuously chased me, but I was faster. So I thought, I numbed grieving when I lost my dad, and I pushed through because that's what black women do. We push through, we push through. We don't have time to sit down. My mom needed me, my siblings needed me. Like I had to be strong. So with my dad, I did not allow myself to feel everything I needed to feel. But with my sister, I grieved sober. Like I didn't smoke nothing, I didn't drink nothing. I did not numb a single second of it. I allowed myself to feel every single solitary feel there was to feel. And were there days that I was just in my home screaming in pain? Yes, there was. And I thought I made it through that because it's gonna be 4 years in this November, and I thought I made it through to the other side until today. And I realized, after I cried during that walk, and I'm just like just sitting there and just reflecting, I realized something that I never considered, that since I lost my sister, I've been trying to get back to normal. I was like, I just want to get back to normal. I just want to get back to normal. I want to get back to who I was before my life was devastated, before I broke in a million and a half pieces. I wanted to get back there because there I knew, there I was comfortable, there I knew what was going to happen. I literally just graduated from therapy when I lost my sister, and life was good. And then it wasn't. And I realized during the time of my grief, like certain things I started adopting certain behaviors. I was terrified of joy. Terrified of joy. I was afraid that if it was, I don't know if it was like survivor's remorse, because I was terrified to enjoy life, because I thought if I enjoyed life, something bad would happen. I had gotten to the point where I was scared to leave my house, and it stemmed from me not being able to get home in time. Um, and so, because I was scared to leave my house, like I worked from home or I didn't go out. And I'm very thankful and grateful for my girlfriends because they didn't let me. They didn't let me stay in the house. And, it wasn't like, they wasn't like, oh, we going out to a party. First of all, our party days is behind us. But it would be something as simple, we're going bowling. And we know you might not feel like it, but if you do, we want to see you. And something that simple was enough to make me put on my sweatpants, because the idea of putting real clothes on was something I could not imagine. I put on some sweatpants and a hoodie, and I drove to meet them, to go bowling. And the whole entire drive, when I tell you I had an anxiety attack, I'm crying the whole drive there. And when I got there late, I got there like an hour and a half later than I said I would be, because it just took me that much to leave my house. But when I got there, the love that I felt from these women that had promised that they would be there for me was unimaginable. And so, yeah. So I did the work. I agree. I went through my grievance and mourning season sober. I went back to therapy. I started doing things that I enjoyed. I worked through all the things. So to my surprise today, when grief was like, "Oh, hey girl, hey, I'm here," and I think she had to make a guest appearance to remind me that the normal that I've been trying to get back to, that I've been trying to claw my way back to, and been continuously disappointed because I could not get back there. I think she wanted to remind me that her purpose is to remind me, one, that I've loved unconditionally and I have been loved unconditionally. Two, and that where there's endings, there's also new beginnings. And where I've been trying to get back to my normal, I'll never be that woman again. I'll never be a woman who has a twin sister walking this earth with her again. That is the hardest thing to say out loud, that you're never going to be the person that you were before you experienced loss. And so it left me with a couple choices. Like, do I tell Ruth that she a liar and I'm gonna get back to my normal come hella high water? Or do I try to live differently? And for me, I decided that I was going to try to live differently, because I had the opportunity to look at the world with fresh eyes, because I've never been this version of me before. This like the rebirth of a brown girl. I've never been me before. I get to experience joy differently. I get to experience fear and pleasure. I get to see the things that I like, things that I don't like. Because, like, when I tell you, after I lost my sister, I didn't even know who I was anymore. And so I get to name myself. And I don't, yeah, I get to name myself. And it's scary. I get to choose whether or not I'm going to be delusional about my life. I think that's why I wanted to do that whole, be delusional thing with myself, where I named the life that I want to be, because I have to figure out who I'm going to be in that life. And right now, I'm still trying to figure out who I am in this life. And so I gotta, it's baby steps, and I think sometimes I get so overwhelmed because I'm experiencing everything new. I'm experiencing emotions new. And child, listen, dating brand new, dating with this new slate that I have is different. Like I love it though. Like because I come to the party with a different amount of grace. I come to the party with a different amount of experiences where I am as curious as I am about myself. I'm also curious about the person I'm getting to know. And so this is a season, I call this my post grief season, the rebirth of a brown girl, where I get to try all the things. I get to do the things that I've always wanted to do. I get to name myself in this life. And I might be beefing with grief because she showed up on a sunny day. But she showed up as a reminder that I'm never going to be the old Erica. But where that season ended, I'm still here. I still have a lot of dash to live. And one thing for sure, two things for certain. My sister lived the shit out of her dash, and she wouldn't have left this earth any sooner than she had to because she met her purpose. Her mission was complete, and I still have a lot of mission to go. I have a dash to live. I have my purpose to complete. My mission is not complete because I'm still here. And grief reminded me that I have to move. I have to live. So that's the choice I made for myself. That I'm going to live differently. I'm going to enjoy life differently. I'm going to experience life differently. I'm going to live. I'm going to live the shit out of my dash, actually. Um, and that's all I got. It's the Brown Girl. This is another episode of Miseducation of a Brown Girl. And if anything resonated with you, if you're in a post grieving season or in the midst of grieving yourself, I will say this: it doesn't end, but it gets easier to live with. But if you're still here, that means you still got a lot of dash to live, or you got some dash to live. You're still here for a purpose. And last but not least, you'll never be that version of you before. So you have a choice too. Do you want to keep trying to get back to normal, or do you want to define a new normal? And so, if this resonated with you, please like, share, and follow. And I will talk to you later. Bye.